Hey, welcome to the Real Football Network. I'm joined by my partner, Kenny Ilchuk, today, and we're taking your questions. I took some of these questions in a parking lot, and I took the rest of them online, but I'm anxious to answer as many of them as I can. Kenny, give me number one.
First one is if Lane Johnson's 10-game suspension stands, what should Eagles fans expect from the O-line this season?
Well, without Lane Johnson, guess what? You're going to have a hard time predicting where your protections are going to go. You were able to leave Lane Johnson alone and slide the protection away from him because he can handle most things by himself. Now you're going to have problems. You're going to have to support both tackles. Let me tell you how that happens. A tight end has to stay in on one side, a back on the other, or you get into five-man protections and it's the quick passing game. I don't like any of those answers. They will struggle without them.
We have some fans asking about sleepers. Who's your biggest sleeper at quarterback?
Yeah, Trevor Siemian, the kid out in Denver. I just got back from the camp tour. I watched Siemian throw the football. He was outstanding. And the day I was there, 2 days before that, the defense had beat up the offense. They couldn't move the ball at all. Guess what Siemian did? He came out on Monday, and he was throwing deep balls and beating one of the best secondaries in the National Football League. That's my guy.
How about running back?
Running back. Well, a couple guys come to mind right away, and I'd say that I have three of them that I deal with. Charles Sims, he's the backup in Tampa, but go look at Charles Sims. He had 1,000 yards of offense last year, and they've already said they're going to reduce the workload of the big guy up front of him. So I like Sims. You want a rookie? I'll give you one. Marshall, the 7th-round pick. There's a kid that was supposed to be a first-round pick by talent, but he didn't get a chance because of his off-the-field issues. But I think he's going to land up blossoming late in the season and being a big-time player.
And how about a wide receiver?
I love two rookies. So Tajay Sharp down there in Tennessee, they already see him as the number 2 receiver. He competes like a number 1. And then Tyler Boyd in Cincinnati. Remember, they had to replace 2 receivers that left in free agency. Boyd is going to be an upgrade by the end of the season.
We have someone asking, what exactly is a swing tackle, and how would you know if your team has one?
Yeah, swing tackle is your third tackle. When they say swing, they're referencing that he could play the right or the left. So if you haven't seen that player or a player in a left-handed stance and a right-handed stance, he's not really a swing tackle. Some teams typically have a backup right tackle, and then they ask their right tackle to move over to left if the left gets hurt. I'll give you this fact, though. Out of the 13 teams I was at during the camp tour, maybe 2 of them had a legit swing tackle. Very dangerous position, no depth in free agency. You lose your left tackle, you are in serious trouble.
Jets fans are happy Ryan Fitzpatrick is back, but Mark from Manhattan wants to know what you think the Jets quarterback depth chart will look like at the end of preseason.
Yeah, Jet fans, you're full of the booze, and what do? You want to do? You want to fire Geno Smith, but you have to ask yourself the question. Geno Smith has starts. And now, if Fitzy got hurt early, at least you have a quarterback that's lined up and started. But a lot of Jet fans want to see him packed. Guess what? No one's going to offer you anything for him. So you might as well keep him, relatively speaking, cheap salary. Now, are you going to keep 4 quarterbacks? If you don't, someone will pick up one of the young guys. Maybe you trade someone. Hackenberg hasn't played in the preseason yet, but he's getting reps this week, so I expect to see him. And then maybe they make a decision on that between the 2 young ones. I'd say Hackenberg stays.
The Eagles added Stephen Tulloch to the linebacking core. Have they done enough there?
You know what they have, Kenny? They have 4 linebackers now to play 3 spots. And that's a pretty good situation. After that, you got to keep this in mind. A team like Philadelphia will be over 50% nickel. What's that mean? Only 2 linebackers are starting. So if you're over 50% nickel, you're really too deep at your linebacker core. You can't ask for much more than that in free agency and the way things go nowadays.
Joey Bosa, if he ever makes it to camp, what does he have to do to win the respect of the veterans in that locker room once he gets there?
Well, first off, they don't really care, and they won't mind the contract issues. Players have learned a long time ago when free agency started in the early 90s, don't mess with anyone else's contract deal. But respect for the player, there's no respect for Joey Bosa until he comes in and gets a few sacks. And if he doesn't do that, and by the way, go back to the original rookie minicamp, he couldn't get anything done. So they already suspect he's overrated. Good luck, Joey.
Back to the Eagles. Who can Eagles fans expect to get cut at wide receiver?
Well, I looked at that receiver core, and I see 4 players that are going to make the team, Aguilar being one of them. Dorial Green Beckham, now that he's there, is 2. Bush is 3. But you know what? I don't think they're going to keep those college free agents. I think they'll put 2 of them on the practice squad and go to the waiver wire to get a fifth wide receiver.
We've talked a lot about how teams practice now. Virtual reality is becoming a tool. Will that mean less contact in practice?
We can't get much less contact than we already have. It's a little ridiculous as it is. Coach after coach complained to me, we're a bad tackling team. So I go, how do you solve that? He goes, I don't know how to solve it because we don't tackle anymore in practice. Take a lesson from Seattle. What is Seattle doing? They're working on that tackling technique that's more like the rugby tackle. So they do tackle at practice. And they feel like injuries are not part of the equation for them. You need to go do physical things, and tackling's part of it. Virtual reality, it's a tremendous tool, and it'll be a great tool for the quarterback in the off season. In season, you got to put your pads on and work.
Heading to the tri-state area, John from West Islip wants to know how the Giants can help their offensive line.
Well, I get this question a lot, and it's about Marshall Newhouse specifically, the right tackle. I'll give you a couple of thoughts. If you don't go out and at least work out and attempt to sign Jake Long, there is nobody in free agency that's going to come in here and be as good or better than Newhouse. So you deal with it. And how do you deal with it? You got Eli Manning. Short passing game, that's a big West Coast principle. Now that they put Sterling Shepard in the mix and you get Victor Cruz hopefully back to go along with Beckham, you got 3 guys you get the ball to in the fast pass and let them do something in the yak. That's the only way to help here. And keep a tight end to help them. If you think there's someone in free agency not named Jake Long, you're wrong.
Other side of the stadium, your boy, Ed from New Jersey.
Oh,
Diehard
Ed.
Jets fan wants to know if the Jets can win the AFC East this year.
You know, this is the guy that confronted me in the parking lot. He couldn't do this on an internet site. He couldn't send this to me. He had to get right in my face. And I'll say this to Ed and to you Jet fans. It's now or never. It's really, you got Fitz in his prime, and you're an old football team. You look at the number of guys that are 30 years of age or older, and your center, and they're starting, it's now or never. And I'll say this, you beat them last year in overtime, and Fitzy went 3 for 3 down the field. That should be the impetus to go out and try to compete. And New England is wounded right now. If you don't do it this year, Ed, don't ask me again.
Speaking of New England, is Tom Brady really the only problem, or they have issues on defense too?
They got issues everywhere, and I love the Patriots, and I still think I'll pick them to win the division. But outside of Brady out for 4 weeks, and we ran a poll the other day on Sirius Radio, and 65% of the people said that the Patriots will go 2-2. And I kind of think that way, except I don't know that you're taking into fact the amount of pass rushers that are missing. He had 49 sacks last year. 29 of those sacks are no longer on the roster. You traded away Chandler Jones, and I understand why. You don't want to give him a gigantic deal next year for $20 million a year, so you move him now, get some compensation. But boo, you lost Ninkovich after that. Now Jabal Sheard is out, maybe till October, and you don't even have Easley, who grabbed a couple sacks himself. So how are you going to create pressure? You really can't afford injuries all at one position, and you got him. Oh, and on offense, Sebastian Vollmer, your tackle, he went to IR. Marcus Cannon's back at right tackle. Did you watch the championship game in Denver? Von Miller made millions of dollars beating Cannon to the quarterback.
Raider Nation is
Raider
up.
Nation. At least they call in every week.
Yeah. Eddie from Staten Island wants to know which Raider will be the first to lift the Lombardi Trophy.
Well, Eddie from New Jersey, I know a little bit about you personally, and my cynical answer is your 1-year-old son will be the first one to ever lift the trophy. But no, we'll go with Carr. You will do it. You're not there yet. You're a little bit over-anxious out there in Raiderland, and if I say one negative thing about your team, you all attack me. You're just not ready for prime time. You're 1 year away.
Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers,
Yeah.
Mike Neal, they all agreed to talk to the NFL.
That's laughable.
It's a good thing?
It's a real thing because the league would have suspended these guys. I think when they go in to meet with the commissioner, it's going to be an easy session. It's not going to be a lot to prove that you're innocent, and they're going to dismiss all these accusations. But in the meantime, they created their own problem by saying they refused the commissioner. Don't let the union operate through you. They're trying to take the power away from the commissioner, and they're using you as a vehicle. You would have been suspended.
And last, you just came off a month on the road visiting all these training camps. You got a couple you want to share that were really impressive?
Yep, Seattle was awesome. They have a renewed agenda to get after this thing, and they better because that division's tremendous. They got a stable of running backs. They had 8 running backs in camp. They'll keep 4, maybe 5, and another one in a practice squad. They intend on pounding the ball. They found a gem in Trevon Boykin, their backup young quarterback, a total clone of Russell Wilson. Same escape skills, beautiful tight spiral pass. So they're in pretty good shape right there. That's why they never signed Tavares Jackson. Their issues are in the offensive line, and I'm not so sure that they're solid at left tackle. Hopefully they can get Gilliam back to left tackle and find the right tackle. They'll be beating the bushes in the waiver wire. I'm not so sure, just like the Giants, that they're going to find a guy, and that means they're going to have to scramble. After that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a big surprise on the camp tour. Loved what I saw from them. Hey,
That's all we got.
this is Pat Kirwan for the Real Football Network. I love these sessions.